This video is about Picton to Nelson road trip options you need to be aware of when you're planning your South Island itinerary, because there are 3 different routes you can take. Number 1, your time's short and you need to make way. Number 2, you're keen on a scenic coastal road. Number 3, you love hiking and you're keen to discover one of the national parks along the way. My name is Michael, I'm a New Zealand travel designer. Let's get started. So this is the first road trip option between Picton and Nelson. As you can see, the driving time is around about 2 hours and the distance about 140 kilometers. But with Google Maps, you will need to add 10 to 15% more time to have an accurate time budget. So you would arrive from the North Island into Picton, most likely in the early afternoon. This means you have limited time to get to Nelson, but with this route you can do quite a bit along the way. So let's head further south. So you go from Picton on SH1 towards the Blenheim region. So Blenheim is one of the key wine growing areas in New Zealand with some of the most prestigious vineyards like Cloudy Bay or Wither Hills, as well as the Omaka Aviation Centre. So this is a pretty good place to stop by either for lunch or for afternoon tea. After this, you continue on SH6 towards Havelock. And Havelock is a fishing kind of port village famous for the green lip mussels. So you want to stop there. There's also a couple of art places, so very much worthwhile. So after that, you continue to a place called Pelurus Bridge, and I would encourage you to stop there as well, because Pelurus Bridge is one of the filming sites for the Lord of the Ring. There's quite a nice car park. You can do some local walks, stretch your legs, do some pictures, so it's a really cool spot. Afterwards, after Pelurus Bridge, you continue towards Nelson, and you got a bit of a windy part here, but that's not too bad. And you're coming onto the Tasman Bay, and you also can see on the other side here is the 𝗟𝗶𝗆𝗃 National Park here, and you will arrive into Nelson in the late afternoon. So this is a perfect route if you arrive into Picton around about midday or early afternoon. If you find this video helpful, please hit the subscribe button below to stay connected for more helpful travel videos to come. So here's the second road trip option between Picton and Nelson. As you can see, the driving distance is much less, it's 113 kilometers, but the driving time is pretty much the same, 2 hours. Again, you need to add 10 to 15% with Google Maps. So you will arrive again in the early afternoon, and instead of going south towards Blenheim, you would actually go through the Queen Charlotte Drive. As you can see, it's pretty windy, but you're actually going through some stunning beaches and stunning bays. Here are some pictures to see. It's a lovely drive, but it's quite windy, not for everybody. There's also a track here. There's obviously many viewpoints you can stop, and you basically would have a kind of a much less traveled drive. I've done this a few times with my bicycle in my younger days. It's a lovely spot, but again, it's not for everybody. But the good thing is you would have a similar time to get to Nelson. Again, you would connect on to SH6 here in Havelock, and you can have a stop here as well, have a coffee or afternoon tea, and then you obviously continue as before through Pelurus Bridge and then through the windy bits just before Nelson, before you head into Nelson. So this is the second road trip option between Picton and Nelson, again for those ones which do arrive in the early afternoon into Picton with a ferry. You can download a travel planning sheet in the description box below, which will help you greatly planning your trip. Also, there are other links to other road trip options as well as rental car accommodation and tours. So here's the third road trip option between Picton and Nelson. It's actually my favorite one. As you can see, it's more than 200 kilometers, and realistically, you need to calculate on 3.5 hours driving. But this one is for nature lovers, people which want to do some hiking, some walking along the way. But most importantly, it is for travelers able to start in the morning. You either arrive early in Picton with a ferry from the North Island, or you would have stayed in the area the night before, because you will traveling through Blenheim, as we discussed before. This is famous for its wines, but you actually will travel through the beautiful 𝗬𝗃𝗯𝗃 river valley, and you travel on 𝗬𝗃₀ towards a small place called St. Arnaud. St. Arnaud is the base for the Nelson Lakes National Park. And this little national park is totally underrated in my opinion. There are some lovely, lovely hikes around the lake, as you can see here, the dotted line, either there, or you can actually go up towards Mount Robert. Beautiful views up there when you get it on a nice day, overlooking the mountains, overlooking the lake. So this is one of my favorite areas in that region. So after St. Arnaud, you then head north towards Nelson. And again, this is a straightforward drive. It's around about 1.5 hours or so once you depart St. Arnaud, maybe a little bit longer. But there's another option you could do if you want to connect straight away with the 𝗚𝗏𝗆𝗃𝗃 National Park. So if you want to head into the 𝗚𝗏𝗆𝗃 area and want to spend a few days, my recommendation would be to go straight through a place called Tabawerra. It's a different route from Kohatu. You turn left into that road, and this one brings you right into the really base of the 𝗚𝗏𝗆𝗃 region, to either 𝗀𝗃₀ or to 𝗧𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃, or even further south to Tasman Village, Ruby Bay and Mapua. So if you're heading into the 𝗚𝗏𝗆𝗃 region, this is my recommendation anyway, because it's about a good hour's drive, depending on traffic, between Nelson to the 𝗚𝗏𝗆𝗃. So you might as well stay in that area. In summary, it all comes back to the kind of interests you have and the time frame you have and which route between Picton and Nelson you select. Check out my road trip video playlist up here with other road trips throughout the North and South Island. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video.